Today on OC News, how will the new immigration policies affect CSUF students?
A busted pipe has caused a relocation on multiple intramural sports on campus.
And clearing the air on rumors of the famous Mr. Beast games.
All this and more coming up on OC News.
This just now in tech news, the first responder on the scene.
There's been a lot of collaborative efforts
I
over the
feel blessed to be here in Fullerton.
Brought to you by the broadcast journalism students at Cal State
Fullerton.
Production.
OC News starts right now.
Hello and welcome to OC News. My name is Connor Raleigh.
And my name is Jonathan Zarati. Thank you for tuning in.
The measles cases are on the rise in the United States with new outbreaks reported in Texas and California. The rapid spreading outbreak of measles in Texas has taken over the life of an unvaccinated child, making it the first death in 10 years. In California, an Orange County infant infected with measles arrived at the Los Angeles International Airport following overseas travel earlier this month. About 1 in every 20 children will develop pneumonia, and others may develop a dangerous swelling in the brain. Up to 3 in every 1,000 children will become infected with measles, may die from respiratory and neurological complications. With kindergarten vaccination rates dipping across the country, more communities may be at risk of outbreaks.
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky will meet with U.S. President Donald Trump in Washington on Friday to sign an agreement on sharing his country's mineral resources. Trump is determined on bringing Russia's war to an end and recovering some of Washington's financial aid to Kyiv. Zelensky is hoping that the natural resources deal can secure the U.S. president's future support, as well as security guarantees for Ukraine. Under the deal, Ukraine will contribute to fund 50% of all revenue earned from the future monetization of state-owned natural resource assets, including hydrocarbon oils and natural gas. The draft of the agreement states that the fund will be managed by representatives of the United States and Ukraine, and more details and terms relating to the fund's control of the operation will be set forth in the following agreement to be negotiated after the initial deal is signed.
The Trump administration has put new immigration policies in place affecting many in and around Cal State Fullerton's campus. Reporter Delilah Grubaugh took a closer look.
President Trump's immigration policies have sparked a widespread concern across America, particularly within Cal State Fullerton, the most populated Cal State university.
I do know this right here, that this is a very uncertain time, and I do understand the anxiety that one will and could feel. I don't want to negate that. But I'm also asking everyone to please maintain calmness.
This was said by CSUF President Ronald Rochon during an Associated Students meeting on Tuesday, acknowledging the uncertainty and concern among students. Among those affected is third-year CSUF student Estela Plancarte, who shared her perspective on the impact these policies have on her community.
I think it's really disheartening and honestly very frightening. My family is practically all immigrants. My parents came here when they were young, and my grandparents came here when they were a lot older. And I know a lot of people who have parents that are also immigrants that are really frightened for their safety and frightened for their safety of their family members, and not even just family members, but just friends in general.
CSUF has been recognized as a historically Hispanic-serving institute, reflecting its commitment to providing access to resources to its diverse student body, including the Latinx population.
Currently, over 50% of the student body at Cal State Fullerton identify as Hispanic or Latino, with about 30% of Orange County being home to immigrants. Students seeking support can utilize CSUF's Latino Resource Center and Dreamers Resource Center that are providing expanded support for undocumented students, including access to Know Your Rights cards. The university has also launched an immigration resources website with information on legal assistance.
Delilah Grubaugh signing off, OC News.
California Governor Gavin Newsom has asked Congress to approve nearly $40 billion for Los Angeles wildfire relief. Newsom sent a letter Friday asking for support from lawmakers including House Speaker Mike Johnson and United States Representative Tom Cole. He wrote, "Los Angeles is one of the most economically productive places on the globe, but it can only rebound and flourish with support from the federal government as it recovers from this unprecedented disaster." According to a Los Angeles Times analysis, total economic loss from the fires have been estimated to surpass $250 billion, with real estate losses from the Palisades and Eaton fires predicted to top $30 billion. Newsom vowed that the funding would be used to rebuild homes, infrastructure, businesses, schools, churches, and healthcare facilities, while supporting the needs of people affected by the devastation.
Now let's see how the increase in prices all around has affected college students' mental health. Reporter Jocelyn Kurati has more.
From the rising cost of eggs and increased gas prices on top of schoolwork, this is putting a strain on the mental health of college students. This often leads to anxiety, depression, and even dropping out. Local student Frida Diaz shares her own personal experiences.
Into school, and on top of that having to do schoolwork and getting worried about like these prices that have been rising, I had to pick up a little bit more hours at work. It's just been really hectic, and I feel like it has been affecting my mental health. I haven't had a car for almost 3 months already, and I actually had to start seeing a therapist because I just feel like it was things after things just happening to me. I don't know how to keep up with the egg prices.
On top of schoolwork and exams, students have a lot more now to worry about. With the economy and the rise and inflation, there are many things on the minds of college students that also ultimately affect their mental health.
Experts say financial stress can lead to sleep deprivation, poor academic performance, and even impact long-term career prospects.
Through experience, the younger population tends to struggle more during inflation. They have trouble, of course, paying their utilities. Sometimes these students, mostly a lot of students, are living on their own, trying to move out. It causes a lot of mood issues, increases anxiety.
As tuition and living costs continue to rise, students are left searching for solutions. But resources are available: on-campus financial aid counselors, mental health services, and budgeting tools that can help students navigate these challenges. This is Jocelyn Quirarte reporting for OC News.
A small plane crashes into Vermont Mountain, with all 3 people on board surviving the crash without serious injuries. According to the Federal Aviation Administration and Manchester Fire Department, 3 people were on board the Piper PA-28 when it crashed on the side of Mount Equinox around 3:55 in the morning. At 8:33 a.m., the pilot called 911 reporting the crash and said all 3 people on board had non-life-threatening injuries. All patients who were found in 4 feet of snow have been rescued from the scene and taken to hospitals. 1 patient was airlifted to Albany Medical Center for further evaluation. The cause of the accident is not known. The plane has been located, and the Federal Aviation Administration will investigate the incident.
Investigators are working to determine the cause of that crash. There are increased concerns as Charlotte Douglas International Airport aircrafts continue to make headlines. Delta Airlines Flight 3067 safely returned to Charlotte Douglas International Airport after reporting a potential mechanical problem after takeoff. The flight had departed Charlotte at 10:15 in the morning, bound for Atlanta Hartsfield International Airport. Within minutes after takeoff, the plane circled back towards Charlotte. On Tuesday, American Airlines Flight 1216 performed a similar diversion after departing the airport. That flight traveled 150 miles and as far as Barnwell, South Carolina, when the flight turned back to Charlotte. While near-miss reports have become increasingly rare, they have increased in the airspace of Charlotte Douglas International Airport. Top 20 destinations. Records show at least 30 close calls since 2020 at those airports. Coming up after the break, we dive into a possible return to plastic straws.
And later, a famous YouTuber involved in controversy? That's gotta be a first time that's happened.
Hey world, I have a quick message. It's about safe driving. All right, let's go. Anytime you're driving, have the seatbelt buckled tight. Both hands on the wheel and your phone out of sight. When not in your hand, trying to text somebody back. Because if you do, your car might get smacked. The moral of the story, just put your phone down. The people on the road will stay safe and sound. Put your phone down, put your phone down. People on the road will stay safe and sound. Yeah.
What does it take to discover the greatness within you? It takes resilience.
When I first got to Cal State Fullerton, I felt lost. Then I found my community. It was like a caring family cheering me on.
I wasn't sure about being a chemist. My professor showed me I could. People believed in me here, and I learned to believe in myself. Discover the resilience within you at Cal State Fullerton.
You can't ask for nicer weather than what we've been having the past few days. Gavin Sanders is in the studio to let us know how long we can expect these sunny, warm days again. Take it away, Gavin.
Thanks, Connor. It looks like this week the weather is going to be pretty wicked. Tomorrow, it's supposed to get even hotter with temperatures reaching 87 degrees. But don't fret, winter isn't over. A storm is coming in this weekend with lots of clouds and even a chance at a small drizzle on Sunday. Let's check out today's weather and the upcoming forecast. Today's high is a warmer 78 degrees than we have been used to with a low of 55 degrees. That's a whole 23-degree difference. 7-mile-per-hour winds make for a decent breeze. We have a 30% humidity, which provides for a dry and comfortable atmosphere around Fullerton. Also, the sun rising at 6:23 and an early sunset at 5:46 p.m. tonight. This week's forecast is all over the place with a hot day tomorrow at 87 degrees. Then we roll into the weekend, cooling down to a nice 70-degree day on Friday and a low of 52. Starting on Saturday, we get back to that winter that groundhog promised, with Saturday going below 70 at 67 degrees and a nice 30% chance at a drizzle on Sunday. And after the weekend, we kick off the next week with a 64-degree day on Monday. Make sure to have those umbrellas in hand this weekend. With the flooding in Kentucky creating a devastating damage and taking 22 lives so far, President Trump has approved more funding for relief for those affected by those deadly floods. President Trump approved a big-time declaration for those affected by the flooding and freezing temperatures in Kentucky earlier this month. President Trump's actions will make federal funding available for people in impacted areas. The assistance will include grants for temporary housing and other programs to help the locals and businesses recover. Trump is also allowing federal funding will also be made available to the state and local governments and certain nonprofit organizations. That's all we have for the weather this week. Thanks for joining me as always. Now back to Jonathan and Connor at the desk.
A utensil stirred up outrage. President Donald Trump recently signed a federal ban on paper straws. Our reporter, Viviana Garcia, has more.
In just over a month, one of Donald Trump's 75 executive orders puts an end to paper straws. The reversal on a Joe Biden policy aimed to combat single-use plastic leaves Titans split.
I think it's kind of petty. I think like paper straws versus plastic straws isn't like going to be the thing that's going to save the planet, but I think it's an action that shows that he almost actively wants to antagonize people who care about the environment.
Like I don't like paper straws, but I don't think they should be banned. It should be an option for people to have.
The straw situation is occurring in federal buildings, but student organizations are advocating for a cleaner campus. Our choices for slurping our favorite drinks may vary.
The Sierra Club at CSUF, we're in direct junction with the Sierra Club Angeles chapter, which is part of a national conservation agency. So on campus, we'll be doing a lot of campaigns for sustainability, making sure that there's things like paper straws on campus, if that's even a possibility, or at least compostable straws on campus, cutting back plastic.
The plastic pollution movement ignited public interest 10 years ago when a hardened straw was removed from a sea turtle's nose. The straw debate seems bendable but remains as a symbol of the global pollution crisis. I'm Viviana Garcia, OC News.
The Student Recreation Center has been operating with only one open court. Our Jonathan Mansour has the story on if the other courts will be ready for the start of the intramural basketball and volleyball season.
The Student Rec Center has been operating with only one court for nearly 4 months. Other courts have been closed off due to water damages by a broken fire sprinkler.
Had a desiccant that got sprayed on top of it, as well as some dehumidifiers that were blowing air on top of the floor for over a month, trying to pull as much moisture out of the floor as possible, with the hope of basically saving the floor.
The SRC will soon undergo a full reconstruction on their courts, as Court 1 also has minor damages from a prior incident. A completed target date is to be determined.
The damage that was done was going to be too significant to repair the floors, and so far we have met with several vendors, we have quotes, and we're in final negotiations on a contract to begin full replacement of all 3 courts in the SRC.
With basketball and volleyball intramural sports beginning in just a couple of weeks, their seasons will be hosted at a different venue.
Yeah, so we was gracious enough for athletics to let us use Titan Gym, so we were able to use the courts for the basketball and then upstairs volleyball practice courts for our volleyball leagues. So definitely a big shout out to athletics.
The intramural season for both sports will run from March 10th to April 17th. Reporting for OC News, I'm Jonathan Mansour.
It's been a busy week in sports, and it's almost hard to keep up with who's winning and who's losing. To help us keep our head above water, here's Jonathan Mansour.
Thank you, Jonathan. Hello, Titans. Let's get this ball rolling on the world of sports. Starting out at Crypto.com Arena with possible new rivalry in the NBA. Luka Doncic finally faced his former team since the blockbuster trade from earlier this month. The highly anticipated revenge game did not disappoint. Although Doncic struggled from the field, he still managed to record a triple-double and showcase some superb passing highlights. The Los Angeles Lakers would go on to beat the Dallas Mavericks 107-99. The Lakers are now 14 games over 500. Nico Harrison, how are you doing, man? Moving on now to your Cal State Fullerton sports, we start off with women hoops. After an 0-10 start, the women basketball team have found themselves just one game back of the Big West tournament spot. Currently in the standings, the Titans are behind Cal Poly, who they will face on March 6th. Both teams have 4 games remaining on the season. The Titans will be in action tomorrow at UC Irvine. Moving now to the Diamond. It has been a struggle for Titans baseball to start the season. Last night, the Titans dropped a home game to USC. USC hit back-to-back home runs in the first and never looked back, even though Fullerton hung around. On the bright side, Andrew Kirshner was able to extend his team lead of RBIs to 12. Ultimately, USC won 5-3 and the Titans dropped to 1-7. They now head to Wichita State for a weekend series. Hang in there, Titans. Hopefully this is just a small bump in the road now. Now let's swing it back to the desk, Connor and Jonathan.
Coming up after the break, an update on Amazon Prime's Mr. Beast games.
In Entertainment Acre, Raylene DeLeo gives an update on the glitch and glamour of the entertainment world. Stay tuned.
I don't think that many kids in my son's school even do it.
He makes fun of his friend who vapes.
He would never try it.
She's into soccer.
She's on the honor roll.
She's just not the type.
No way.
No way.
No way.
No way, my kid would never vape.
Get your head out of the cloud. Today, nearly 8,000 kids will start vaping. Maybe even yours. Learn about the dangers at talkaboutvaping.org.
Worried about your friend, but don't know how to reach out?
You could say, how are you, or get a fake tattoo. You could ask with an app if it works for you. You could chat with them in VR, it's all good. If you think you should check in, yeah, you should.
Whatever gets you talking. Reach out to a friend about their mental health. Whatever gets you talking. Learn how you can help at seizetheawkward.org.
We're all just trying to keep things running for those who rely on us. That's why we don't have time to be sick with the flu.
We don't have time for delays.
We don't have time for spills.
Next.
We don't have time for setbacks. Let's be real.
Getting the flu shot
helps you fight the flu.
Get a flu shot for yourself and those around you too.
STEM is precise, no margin for error.
Dare to forget that. Dare to have fun with it. Get weird with it. Dare to send those old STEM theories flying past the neighbor's house into outer space. Dare to program something internet-breaking, record-breaking. Dare to blow their minds. Dare to learn the difference between sedimentary and metamorphic rock. Go find those rocks. Dare to keep daring. Dare to STEM. Check out She Can STEM to get started.
Mr. Beast, a social media superstar, has recently aired his own game show, Beast Games, that has faced some controversy recently. I got the inside scoop earlier this week to see if those claims are true. Jimmy Donaldson, also known online by Mr. Beast, is a social media superstar who boasts 367 million subscribers on YouTube, 32 million followers on X, 115 million followers on TikTok, and 66 million followers on Instagram. But things haven't always been like this. In 2016, Jimmy was just like a lot of us college students, trying to figure out his place and what his passion was, until he finally found it on YouTube, gaining 60,000 subscribers and ultimately deciding to drop out. From 2016 to now, 2025, Mr. Beast has recently branched off into a new space, his own game show on Amazon Prime called Beast Games. Beast Games is a game show that started with 1,000 contestants, but only one can win the grand prize of $10 million. Recently, the game show has been under some scrutiny, as multiple social media pages have claimed that the winner of Beast Games only claimed half of the prize due to taxes. I was able to talk to an employee and get the scoop of what really happened.
I mean, one of the biggest things in pop culture right now is Beast Games, and I find it really funny how most people are online talking about not about how much the guy won, but the amount of taxes the guy is getting taken out. But if you just do a little bit of research, you can see that the show is actually filmed in Canada, and the laws in Canada forbid somebody getting taxes taken out for any game show winnings. So
there's a reason why Mr. Beast has been able to climb the ranks and be crowned the king of the internet. Whether it's giving away millions of dollars, saving thousands of lives, or counting to 100,000 in a single video, Mr. Beast is always one step ahead. Reporting from Fullerton, I'm Connor Raleigh, OC News.
Entertainment is always in the conversation of what's hot and what's not. For more, let's go to our entertainment anchor, Raylene DeLeo.
Thanks, Jonathan. Here's the latest scoop in entertainment celebrity updates, trending stories, and all the buzz you need to know. Michelle Trachtenberg, known for her roles in Buffy and Gossip Girl, passed away this morning in her New York City apartment. Sources say Trachtenberg recently underwent a liver transplant and may have been experiencing complications. She was just 39 years old. Breaking news. For Real Housewives of Potomac fans, Karen Huger has been sentenced to 2 years in prison after a DUI conviction. 1 year of her suspension was suspended, meaning she'll serve 1 year behind bars upon release. Huger will face a year without driving and 5 years of probation with an interlock device. In just 2 football seasons, Taylor Swift's relationship with Chiefs tight end Travis Kelce has brought over $1 billion of revenue to the NFL. From her first game appearance in September 2023 to the AFC Championship in January 2024, Swift generated nearly $367 million in brand value. Her impact continued strong in the most recent season, with an estimated $634 million in equivalent brand value, many driven by social media and digital news. That's all for today in the world of entertainment. Back to you guys in the studio.
Many of the soldiers on the front lines in World War II are no longer with us, but one of those veterans, born and raised in Minneapolis, turned 102. Technical Sergeant Don Halverson celebrated the rare birthday with his fellow soldiers on Monday at the Red Bull 34th Infantry Division in Arden Hills. Halverson still remembers his time fighting in the war with the Red Bulls in Italy in the early 1940s. His team spent the most consecutive days in combat than any other unit in the Army, a record that still holds today. While many of Halverson's friends died in the war, he says he feels lucky he returned home to Minnesota. Since being back home, Halverson spends his time with his fellow Red Bull soldiers and supports them in their efforts.
102, man? That's crazy.
You think he knows who Mr. Beast is?
Man, who knows? Thank you for joining us this week on OC News. Our next show of the week will start in just a few moments. I'm Jonathan Zarati.
And I'm Connor Raleigh. Make sure to follow us on all social medias at OC News CSUF and at Titan TV CSUF. Stay tuned.